What's up, everyone? Welcome to ClearTalk. In this video, we're going to talk about how Republican members in Congress, in the House, in the Senate, those in the Trump administration, how they truly are, in my opinion, most definitely a part of a cult. They have cultish behavior towards Trump, towards their agendas, and bills that they are presenting. And so we're going to talk about this and how concerning that really is, and how serious should we take them. So yes, in lieu of, last week, last week or the week before, whenever it was, last week, of them, signing off on this one big beautiful bill, right? A bill that basically codifies in, the previous Trump tax cuts, which we've talked about before. Everybody's talked about before. Even some people don't listen. Is that that gives even then it gave like 80 something percent of the tax benefits went to the top 1%, over 10 years. It was it is basically making sure that the rich get richer, and it's like permanent, allowing them to, and and then turns around, and what few like tax benefits, so to speak, that are given in this bill for like regular everyday people, is limited, is has sunsets within like 3 years. It's not something that is sold as if it's something that's going to be like actively, and it's something that's actively going to benefit you from a day-to-day thing, but it's actually not, like the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, stuff like that, and people are thinking that that's going to be like live on their check, and it's not. It's a tax deduction that you can potentially take advantage of at the end of the year in hopes that your taxes get reduced and allow you more capable of actually getting a return back or something like that. And there's limits to that. It's not unlimited. So I mean, this is not like something that's going to help you on a day-to-day basis. It's just not. And then, like I said, after all, this sunsets, and then on top of that, the decreasing of healthcare and SNAP benefits and all these things, the things that they stated over and over and over again. Trump himself, administration members, Senate, and House, representatives and stuff stated over and over and over again that they were not going to touch, Social Security. They're not going to touch Medicare. They're not going to touch Medicaid. And yet, what do? They do just that, making those cuts. And they claim it's not cuts because they reword it as well. Those who are, qualified are not going to lose it. That's the way they reword it. So basically, they altered the way the who was actually going to qualify, so that they could say, well, no, we're not making cuts. It's just that those who qualify will continue to have it. We just changed the qualifications, and that's just that. So those who are kicked off, it's just that they weren't kicked off. It's just they don't qualify anymore. It's a difference. So while they're doing all that, and also hurting people, as far as educational financing and everything. I mean, there's so many things that are hitting people, and adding on to security state with ICE, making it one of the largest agencies ever, to crack down more and more on immigrants and everything. I mean, just all these different things that they're doing, and these are the things that they propose, things that they're trying to, that they, and that's something that actually did get passed. But looking at some of these things that members are trying to pass, like memorializing this man is crazy to me. Some of which I didn't even know they had been trying to do until recently. And it's like this stuff is. I mean, outside of Trump constantly trying to make his millions and money and taking advantage of everyday supporters with his crazy scams and money schemes and products and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this it's just crazy to me how much they, they're trying to honor this man and the things that they say that and without even knowing the actual outcomes of what is being implemented, and how it actually is going to affect America, like not really knowing that yet. It's crazy to me. So, let me swap over here. Here we have this from the Washington Post. I actually had to pay money to access this. Um, a $250 bill. Now this is old news. I'm granted, but this is something that and I didn't even know about though. But this is or that it was old news, but it's being brought up. Like these things are being brought up over and over and over again, like pushed. Like they come up. They've came up a few months ago, and then now people are coming back at it. This like a. And although most of this stuff will more than likely not happen, but the point is the amount of like adoration and like just fawning over this man and trying to commemorate him while he's in office, before he's still alive. And there's like laws and rules around, or just like, even to some degree, just like a respectful thing to allow time before trying to do some of these things, or at least that's the way it was in the past. But people are just constantly from day one of this administration, and even before this administration, trying to, talking about these kinds of things. A $250 bill and WMAGA, GOP lawmakers push legislation honoring Trump. All right, so late last month, Florida Republican Representative Greg Steube, maybe that's how you say it, I'm not sure, Steube, introduced a bill that would halt any funding for the Washington Metropolitan Area Transportation Authority, okay, which is the WMATA, unless its name was changed. Halt funding unless they change the name. Steube, who's Southwest Florida District, he's just a Florida guy trying to change something in Washington metropolitan area. Is about 250 miles from Washington. 950 miles from Washington. Proposed WMATA be rechristened the Washington Metropolitan Authority for Greater Access, or WMAGA. I don't even know where to begin on that. Like, I mean, it doesn't even really technically like connect to MAGA, but yet just because like he sat there and thought, this is so close. WMATA is so close to being like WMAGA, like win MAGA, that he sat there and thought of a different name for this transportation authority, like agency or whatever, to just so it sounds like MAGA. And he's introducing bills for this. That's what I'm talking about. Instead of like, you'll notice these are people. This is the people that's in Congress. And instead of trying to put up bills to help American people out, help education, help access to money, or lowering taxes, or whatever. This is the type of stuff that they are introducing. Okay, seriously. The legislation also called for Metro Rail, the system's flagship rail line, to be renamed Trump Train. Okay. Okay. The bill, Stu said in the statement, would signal a cultural shift away from bureaucratic stagnation toward public facing excellence and patriotism. That's a mouthful. Stu's proposal is just the latest in legislative offerings this year, paying tribute to Donald Trump. House representatives have proposed at least 8 bills since January to honor the president or burnish his image. Trump, I think that would be more like brandish. I don't know, whatever. They would, among other things, put Trump's portrait on U.S. currency, carve his name into Mount Rushmore, or his face, sorry, into Mount Rushmore, which, these are, that's something that has been brought up several times. Rename Washington Dulles International Airport for him, call it basically, I guess, Trump Airport, and making his birthday a national holiday. 2 bills, both introduced by Marjorie Taylor Greene, call for the House to impunge Trump's impeachment in 2019 and 21. Expunge. Sorry, I said that wrong. Lifetime political observers say that GOP's legislative love fest for the president is well outside of congressional norms. While members have often proposed legislation that honors presidents, it is almost never while they are still in office. It is unprecedented, and to be honest with you, it's completely wild. John White, professor emeritus of politics at Catholic University, said in an interview, history shows that most things are named after presidents after they have either long left office or been deceased. Okay, and here's some examples. Ronald Reagan was still alive in 1998 when Congress passed legislation renaming Washington National Airport for him. But by then, Reagan had been out of office for almost a decade and had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So it was kind of a respectful thing there to, it's way out of office. We recognize what things, whether or not one wants to argue that they were good or not the idea was that he was been out of office for a while, and commemorating him. White also pointed out to the renaming of Idlewood Airport in New York for John F. Kennedy in December 1963, just a month after his assassination. But this was a decisive proposal by the New York City's mayor at the time, not Congress. And I mean, that's still a month, probably a bit crazy, but I mean, he was assassinated. He was the last president assassinated, and at that time, certainly the latest. In 2012, Congress passed bipartisan legislation that renamed federal buildings for former Democratic President Bill Clinton and former Republican President George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush. Stu's proposal to rename the metro was cheered by many from Trump's base and met with derision by Democrats and other critics who saw it as a craven appeal to the commander-in-chief. WMATA is not a vanity project for Donald Trump to steamroll. It's a backbone of our nation's capital. When will House Representatives stop trying to suck up to Donald Trump and start focusing on lowering the cost of living? That was from Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia. And, I'm not trying to act like this guy is good or not. I really honestly don't know. But he's still making a good point. Like, this is what I'm talking about, that instead of proposing things that would actually benefit everyday Americans or whatever, we're proposing things basically in appearance to just suck up to Donald Trump. None of the current laundry list of Trump praising bills are likely to become law as they face a challenging legislative process and constitutional obstacles, but they do serve a purpose for the members who introduced them. They're trying to stand out amongst their peers, of whom can be the most supportive of a president who has been complete hold on his party. Burgut said. This is the Casey Burgut, Director of Legislative Affairs, Master Programs at George Washington University. Attaching their name to something in their institutional capacity not only signals to their constituents that they're doing this, but more importantly, probably the president who's looking for fealty. 3 days after Trump's inauguration in January, Representative Addison McDowell from North Carolina proposed renaming Dulles Airport to Donald J. Trump International Airport. President Donald Trump, the greatest president of my lifetime, has just sworn into office for a second term after a historical landslide victory. I mean, this is literally right after he was sworn in, and you're trying to change airports. I mean, he hasn't done anything, and you're trying to change airports. Representative Claudia Tenney of New York chose Valentine's Day to submit a bill that would make Trump's birthday, June 14th, a national holiday along with Flag Day. Just as George Washington's birthday is codified as a federal holiday, this bill will add Trump's birthday to this list, recognizing him as the founder of the America's Golden Age. The founder of America's Golden Age. You know, this is not the first time America or people tried to tempt an age to be called the Golden Age. It's not like Trump created this. Now, he might actually turn out to be the one president who was able to fully implement it and get away with it. But it's not like he came up with this. Tenney said in a statement at the time, a few days earlier, Tenney was introducing H.R. 1216, a bill that would end federal. Sorry about that. A bill that would end federal support for PBS and NPR. It is titled the Defund Government Sponsored Propaganda Act. I'll tell you how unserious these people are. President Trump is arguably the most consequential president ever, and his place in history will be remembered for generations to come. That was from Caroline Leavitt, House Press Secretary. These proposals from Republican lawmakers serve as a further proof that there's never been a political leader in American history with such immense support from their party as Donald Trump, or President Trump. The president appreciates the overwhelming support and these kind gestures from Republican lawmakers. It's like, oh, praise me, praise me. I mean, like, you know, we constantly are seeing in all these meetings and stuff where whenever, you know, he asks for somebody to talk, you know, about some kind of, you know, whatever issue or something going on, or how they're implementing something or whatever, like first they have to go on this long rant. Every damn one of them have to go on this long rant about how amazing he is and how much support that you know, that they are giving him, or that he is giving America, and all this kind of like just overall fawning that they do. It is crazy to me. I mean, just in the other day with the meeting, dinner, or whatever, with Netanyahu, you had the Israeli, our representative Huckabee. Goodness gracious, I forgot his name for a second. I mean, when he was asked to talk about, like, I can't remember what he was even asked to talk about, and his whole like probably 2 minutes spiel after that, after being asked, was all adoration for Trump. I don't even think he talked about what he was asked to talk about at all. It was just complete fawning over Trump and how amazing Trump is. I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, it's amazing. It's dumbfounding. Several lawmakers in a current session have served up bills that aim to make Trump's face more ambiguous. Uh, Representative Anna Paula Luna from Florida introduced legislation directing the Secretary of Interior to arrange for the carving of the figure of Donald Trump on Mount Rushmore National Memorial. This is something that has been brought up a couple of times. National Park has previously said that there was no suitable stable space on the monument for another face to be added. I mean, they've done, like, there's been analysis and stuff done on the granite and stuff that the presidents that are on there. I mean, for quite frankly, personally, I don't even like the fact that the presidents that are up there. I think it's ridiculous. But those that are already up there, and the fact that it's like on sacred, like uh, sacred land for Native Americans. But the marble and stuff is so cracked and unstable over what already is carved that if they attempt to even like carve anything else could potentially cause that granite to loosen, break, or whatever, and then you'd wind up destroying what's already there. And even the proposal of, I think apparently it's been proposed that, maybe we could have something pre-carved and just like slap it up there, instead of carving out of the granites that there. They said that is more or less going to be able to do that, and then like even the ability to like support something that has been already carved up there would be unstable and would cause instability in the rock. So it's like this is not something we want to really attempt to do, or it could destroy what's already up there. Now, like I said, quite frankly, I don't really care if it's destroyed, but because I feel any kind of carve out like that of some in reverence to anybody like that is just over the top and ridiculous. But nevertheless, Representative Brandon Gill from Texas proposed H.R. 1790, the Golden Age Act of 2025, which directs the Treasury Department to print $100 bills with Trump's portrait on them. That was just after Representative John Wilson of South Carolina introduced the Donald Trump $250 Bill Act, which would require the Treasury to print Federal Reserve notes in the denomination of $250 bills, and such notes shall feature a portrait of Donald J. Trump. The $250 bill is meant to help the nation celebrate its 250th birthday next year, Wilson said in a statement which concluded the most valuable bill from the most valuable president. And would you look at that? We have people sponsoring this bill, including Stube, Elise Stefanik, Deanna Barger from Tennessee, Ralph Norman from South Carolina, and Daryl Issa from California. They're all in for it. Put Donald Trump on a $250 bill, the largest bill in circulation. As you saw there, the most valuable bill for the most valuable president. They're putting him above everybody. Put him above everybody. The U.S. Treasury Brendan Beach, who was appointed by Trump, wrote to Wilson in late May expressing his support for the bill, but acknowledging that the law does not allow living people to appear on U.S. currency. In a letter Wilson's office shared with Washington Post, Beach wrote, "I am willing to help in any way, but I can make this a reality." A spokesperson for the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, did not respond to any email seeking comment. Spokesperson for the Republican representative, Spokespeople for other Republican representatives contacted for this story pointed to statements made that the bill was introduced. It's not former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent of Pennsylvania. He states it's better to name buildings and institutions and airports for Republicans, for politicians long after they're out of office, after there's been some time to reflect on their records and their place in history. And I could not agree more. The various proposals honoring Trump this session are being done to please the president. I mean, he loves that kind of attention. Then added that he thinks it is ill-advised to pass legislation bestowing honor to people in such a politically charged atmosphere. Unless you do their types of, usually when you do these types of honorifics, I don't know is that even a word? they are moments of celebration and joy for remembering that individual. I don't think that that's what would happen today with the current president. Certainly not while he's in office. Maybe over time, after he's long gone, maybe people's views will shift on him. Who knows? And that's the point. Like, if we get, years removed from this second term and all the stuff that someone like me or anybody else that's on the left that's arguing against all these policies and that they're going to cause problems within the country, it's going to hurt regular day people while making the rich even richer and giving them even more control and more power and all that stuff. I mean, if all that, after a few years removed or whatever of Trump no longer being president, we find that stuff was maybe a little, I don't know, hyperbolic or didn't actually come into fruition, and that the country did wind up better off or whatever the case, then I would say, okay, fine. Maybe you have an argument if you want to, commemorate or memorialize Trump in some sort of way, by renaming an airport or whatever the hell, fine, whatever. But to try and to constantly attempt to do this while he is in office, to try to go out of your way to propose all these kinds of things. Like, if you had been a part of his administration or of his period in time and you proposed bills during that time that helped push forward the agendas and that we find years later then improved America to the extent that you claim your agenda is going to improve America. Like, if you had been a part of it and you had given legislation and put forward legislation through this period of time that helped that to succeed and to that point be found later on, then bringing up this type of legislature then where we are commemorating and whatnot would make sense. But you're not even doing that. You're bringing up legislation. You're bringing up this type of. This is what you're bringing. The time you were being spent here during his administration, your way of contributing to his administration at this time in trying to create a legacy for him is to propose legislation in adoration of him. Like, it just seems so icky to me and so cultish to me that the only thing you care about, the only thing that you are concerned with is making him appear because all these are like visualizations. They're not even anything that actually contributes to American society, that actually does something, even if it is solely for the rich or something. Like, it is not. None of this actually affects people in any fundamental way. Like, they're just visualizations. And while I can see where some people, okay, well, then why are you fucking talking about it? Well, that's the point. It's like your contribution to his administration is to put forth legislation. You taking the time to write a bill solely for visual adoration towards somebody who, while maybe to you feel has gained enough, like, respect, or has done enough in your opinion to be considered like revered or whatever, does not mean that everybody else has been convinced of this. And while, yes, I would think that I'm pretty sure there's plenty of even voters who feel the same way and would support these things. Again, like I said, it's not. It just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem to fit the moment, like the way I think they think it does. I'm just trying to, like, strong man their opinion, like their purpose in this. Like, it's if I were to do that, like, but on the surface, for someone like me, it just looks like complete and utter cultish behavior. That all you are considered and all you are consumed with is making this man look, like something, in my opinion, he's not. And certainly not worth. And even to argue that, because he's ushering in American golden age, I'm not even convinced that the golden age part is for me, like, or for any ordinary day person. It seems to look to me just like it did before 100 years ago, when the golden age thing was attempting to be coined. And it's just the rich having more power and control and money, the rich becoming richer. That's the way it looks to me. And while, yeah, okay, these people don't give a damn about me, but, or this person, these people that are putting this legislation don't give a damn about me, apparently. But I mean, it just seems a little. It seems like what we have been talking about all along, that these people do not care about actually helping regular, everyday people. They don't care about the working class. They don't care about, whether you have access to health care. They don't care about whether or not you are making a livable wage. They don't care about whether or not you're getting access to the best education you can get. They don't care about whether or not, you're getting, or your kids are even being fed, or, I mean, all they care about is praising and uplifting a man, um, because of his name. because they look at him as some sort of savior. Um, and this is concerning. It should be concerning to everybody. The amount of just ridiculousness some of these lawmakers they've been put in this position to represent the American people, to represent their districts, to and to like submit things that should benefit their constituents. So, I mean, the question is, how does any of these types of things, these types of bills, how do they benefit their constituents? And do their constituents actually look at this and think, oh, yeah, that helps me out? Um, I don't. Uh, Let me know what you think. That's just how I feel about it. The just overall fawning and just glorification, revering of this man and these Republican legislators, and even administration members and stuff, and how they just constantly, I mean, and this is exactly what Trump wants. This is exactly what Trump, like, energizes himself over. And the reason why he pushes for things and says things that we oftentimes step back and go, whoa, wait a minute, what? What are you talking about? You think this is cool, or you think this is something should happen? Like when he stated himself that he would have no problem or thinking it's cool that if his face were put up on Mount Rushmore or something, yeah, I didn't say this, but I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Like, or other things. It's just, he, this is the type of thing that he just lives for. The type of thing that he wants himself to be memorialized for is himself being raised up over anybody, everybody, the greatest ever in American history, whether that be president or whatever. Um, and it's so cultish. It's so dictatorish, authoritarianish. You should never, in my opinion, you should never put a single person up on such a pedestal as that. Let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time, peace. ClearTalk. I'm out.